Yes guys, welcome back to the channel yet again. Another 3 episodes in the Leicester City career mode. Episode 51. Hopefully you enjoyed the 50th episode of the series. Halfway to 100. We had a live match. It was against Arsenal. Go and check it out. It was actually a very good game. Entertaining, some chances, a lot of chances, a few goals in it. But we're back into the post-match commentary with multiple games in it. I was going to do actually multiple games in the live one for the 50th episode, just to make it a little bit special, because obviously we do have another big game in this match. This one's kind of big, as you saw from the table earlier on. If we get anything from this game, pretty much we qualify in the top spot. Bayern Munich still struggling, so they have to get stuff out of their final 2 games if they want to qualify. If we could beat Lokomotiv Moscow, that just gives them a little bit more chance, and we are heading towards beating them by the looks of it early on in the game, as Eric Lamela dispatches of a nice fine through ball from Jamie Vardy. A few changes in the lineup in this game. Players like Torvan, I believe, got a start. Jamie Vardy obviously starting. Jovetic has pretty much taken over the starting lineup position after being very good since joining. But we have another big game later on in this episode against Tottenham Hotspur, who are also above us. Arsenal were obviously above us going into the game. And look at this right here. Beautiful through ball from Vardy. Arnautovic through on goal. All he has to do is tuck it past the keeper, and the referee pulls it back for a free kick. He played advantage, waited for Arnautovic to get through on goal, and then pulled it back for a free kick. And everyone just acted like nothing had happened and continued on with their day. And so did we. We continued creating chances still. Lamela there could have had a second. 30 minutes into the game now. Lamela turning, getting some space, hitting the post with a nice long range shot. So he could have had a hat-trick at this point in the game. And then we jump, you can see we jump straight to the 70th minute of the game. Nothing much really happening between the 30th and 70th minute. Nothing worth showing. Lamela again was just brilliant, getting down the left hand side this time, pulling it back to Lando Aarons, another player who was able to get a start. And he really just ran past the ball, to be honest, to begin with, and then eventually came back for it, but it was a bit too late, denied by the keeper. 74 minutes in, a good cross from Jose Perez, who just coming in. It was Juan Nunez in front of the goal. Who knows what he was doing that far out the pitch. He was denied by the keeper, and the rebound dropped nicely for Jamie Vardy to tuck away his second Champions League goal of the season so far. So we are 2-0 up, 75 minutes in. And recently, we obviously had a little bit of a stuttering start to the campaign, well, to the Premier League campaign at least, not really Champions League. We've done quite well all the way through the Champions League, but in the Premier League, we've had quite a stuttering start, lost and dropped points in games we shouldn't have expected to, really. But now in recent episodes, the last 3, maybe 4 episodes, we've really been playing well. Lamela again creating, he's just been brilliant in this game, across to Jamie Vardy. However, Jamie Vardy kind of lost his footing before striking the ball, wasn't able to get into the back of the net under pressure from the defender, just wide of the post. And then, I think this is the last chance of the game before the end. Grenier finds Shaw, I believe that was, who was forward, and he played it into Rolando Aarons, and this time the young winger was able to smash it into the back of the net. A brilliant finish. His finishing is much better than his stats suggest. He actually kind of reminds me of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. His dribbling is definitely not as good as Chamberlain's. His agility, he doesn't feel as good on the ball, but he is rapid in this game. But his finishing, in terms of, neither of them have the best finishing stats in the game, but both of them can finish very well. Like that finish there, just smashed it in off the post. Power, precision, everything you want from a finish, one-on-one with the keeper. And that match ended 3-0 in the end. Convincing display, solid performance. And now we come into the next game, which is Spurs. I almost said Stoke for some reason. I had Spurs is our next game. Tottenham Hotspur. It's a decent lineup they've come out with, but a lot of players you'd expect to see playing, like Kyle Walker, who are just not playing. DeAndre Yedlin, maybe he's better than Kyle Walker at this point. I don't actually know, obviously being in the 3rd season. And Kyle Walker is actually not that great in this game in terms of overall. Obviously, he's probably the best right back in the game in terms of performance, with the pace and strength and even crossing rate and stuff like that. But overall, I think he's like mid-70s, which is obviously not that great. Maybe Yedlin is better than that by this time, I'm not too sure. But we started the game off well and capitalised from a beautiful curling finesse finish from Lewis Holtby. He's another one, been really good this season. He started last season off, well, last season obviously his 1st season at the club. He started that season off just distributing assists just left, right and centre. But this season he's had quite a few less assists than last season, but a lot more goals. He seems to be getting into the right positions to score more this season. Mahrez has kind of taken up more of the assisting role. But Holtby's just had a really good season. Arnautovic has had a really good season. He plays it into Van Ginkel and into Schlupp, who completely rinses the defender. Schlupp had a brilliant game in this match. 37 minutes in and we're all over Tottenham in this game. A 3 points would do well for our position. We would end up, I think, 1 point behind them if we get 3 points in this match. And from the resulting corner of that Schlupp chance, Mahrez whips it in onto Arnautovic's head. Arnautovic started really well after signing for us on a free contract in the summer, and then after his little injury he kind of fell off for a few games, not too long, and then after bringing him back in he's just been brilliant in the last few games here. Holtby lays it off to Danny Drinkwater there, and Michel Vorm, who always plays for Spurs in career mode. I don't know why Lloris never gets any games, but it is what it is. Dele Alli there forcing a save out of our keeper Ben Hamer. Tottenham coming back down the other side now, 77 minutes in, pushing to get back into the game. Brilliant delivery. Well, is it brilliant? He smashed it across the box. Did he mean it? Did he have control over the precision? That fell straight to Toby Alderweireld. And yeah, look at it. Chadley's just gone down the right hand side. I tried to catch him, got a little bit close. Maybe if I slid with Michael Mance again, could have gotten the end of it, but Chadley's just smashed it against the box. And you look at it from that angle, where is everyone? You've got the two centre backs coming across to defend against Chadley, and no one in the box. But we're trying to get back into the final minutes of the game, trying to get our 3 points back, which we've lost 10 minutes ago recently. And with one last chance in the game, Riyad Mahrez, can he get a good delivery in? It's onto the head of Ayoze Perez, and Ayoze Perez in the 90th minute with the last attack of the game gets us all 3 points. Michel Vorm, what was he doing out in the middle of nowhere? I mean, you can criticize him, but it was a beautiful delivery from Riyad Mahrez. He gets it, whips it in. It makes the keeper kind of think, yeah, I can get there, but it's outswinging delivery right onto the head of Ayoze Perez, and no one's jumped with him, no one's contested him. But you look at the replay and you have to say Vorm has to take at least a smidgen of blame. Like, if he just stayed on his line, that just goes right into his hand. Easy save, throws it out. Maybe even they get a counter attack. But that's not how it played out. He came out in no man's land, just in between. Ayoze Perez nods it past him, and we take all 3 points after Spurs worked hard to get back into the game. And it's a nice win for us, and we'll take it. And now, in November, I believe we are at this point, transfer rumours starting to fly around a little bit. Ross Barkley, actually the Everton duo, Ross Barkley and John Stones, being rumoured to end up at Leicester City at some point in the January transfer is being rumoured. Possibly the summer transfer. Also, Mahrez, still not clear about the situation with Riyad Mahrez there. Clubs apparently circling around like sharks for the Algerian winger. He's been playing well, and Chelsea were one of the names that were rumoured. Well, you can't put it past them signing him with the way he's been playing. But look at the name right there. If you miss it, Bossut. You can see his stats. He's only a 46 overall, I believe. But the one reason I want to train him up is because he is actually a towering 6'7" in this game. He's 6'7". He's got some decent physical stats. Well, some pretty good physical stats actually. So I'm thinking he might be a little experiment. I might do 5 training a week. Once I feel like is it Kelly Evans and Van Hoof are at a decent spot where I'm just happy with where they are, I think I'll do all 5 training spots on Bossut, the Belgium centre midfielder. He's actually a defensive midfielder, I believe. And we'll see how good we can get him, because if we can get him very skillful, he's got some good physical stats, and he's 6'7". If we can get him the technical abilities, he could be very good. His potential is quite broad. I think it's about 77 to 94 at the moment. So we'll see how that goes down. Obviously, he's only 46, but we could train him up very quickly because of that. So we'll see how that goes, and he could end up being maybe a Fellaini type player, someone who could play defensive mid all the way through the spine, even maybe centre back if we need him, all the way through centre forward. So I want to see how that ends up. We'll train him a little bit, but into the game anyhow. We're playing against QPR, newly promoted side, and now we've made it 2-0. Stevan Jovetic gets one. The first goal was scored by Jovetic as well, actually. He scored 2 in this game. The first goal was a beauty. Just check it out. If you was by any chance distracted by me talking and chatting, go back and check that first goal. It was a beauty. And the second one was quite well worked as well. Down the left hand side, Arnautovic skipping around his man, just laying it into Jovetic. Beautiful finish. He's really coming into his own now. A little bit of a slow start at the beginning of the season. Now he's really picking it up. A lot of goals in the Champions League. Getting a lot of goals in the Premier League now. A lot of assists. I think he's the highest assister in the team alongside Mahrez. But 48 minutes in, QPR were able to pull a goal back, and this goal really pissed me off. When you look at it, it's just not realistic at all. Like, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's damn near impossible. How can you have someone leaning, putting pressure on your right side, that close to your right side, and with your right foot, with the ball dug underneath your feet, you dig it out with that much power, no dip, it was just an arrow. And it just, like, fair enough if it was his left foot and someone was leaning on his right foot, or if the player was leaning on his left side and he used his right foot. But with someone leaning on your right side, pulling on your right arm, and you dig it out your right foot like that just don't make sense. But regardless, the goal counted, and so did this one right here. I think it's Nicolas Lopez in the end, who QPR signed in the summer, I believe. I remember that being something I showed in one of the episodes. Signed him in the summer. Nicolas Lopez pulls another one back for them. When you look at the replay, you look at the goal in the first place, we just look like Arsenal right there. Being an Arsenal fan, I know what Arsenal look like. Just like we're 2-0 up and we've ended up throwing it away. However, we pull another one straight back. We pretty much came straight down the other side. It all opened up for us, and Marco Van Ginkel took it into the right hand side of the box and smashed it past the goalkeeper. An unlikely goal scorer. He's only got one at this point when he scored this goal. But it's a decent goal. His first goal was a beauty, and his second one is not too bad itself either. Second goal in the Barclays Premier League, they confirm it right there. But talking about that goal that they scored to equalise, like, we were 2-0 up, 2-1 up at that point. No need to go for a second goal, but I just can't help myself, and I throw players forward, and we were wide open and got what we deserve, really. But you see, again, training Bossut, and his stats are really poor, so you can see his stats will just fly up, to be honest. I'll end up training him in more or less everything, and he's trained well so far. 2 sessions, got B's and A's in both of them, so that's a good sign. We'll see how it goes. If he's not training very well, or if I kind of just think like this isn't worth it, we'll end up taking him back off. But I do at least want to get him to a rating where he's okay to be in the starting lineup. At least a 60 rating I want to get him up to before I call him up and stop training, because he is a 17-year-old as well. There's not really much time, because I don't want him to grow. I definitely don't want him to grow. If he goes to 18 years old, he'll probably end up around 6'11", maybe even 7 foot. We don't want that, because then he'll just be way too slow. I have a feeling he'll be too slow and sluggish already, so we don't want him to get to 18 years old. We want to sign him up while he's 17, so I want to train him up. We may even bring him in, but I want to see what his potential is like. We had a quick scout report right there. Remember, just stop and pause if you want to see any other stats in detail. And here's the table. As we end the episode, we are 2nd place. A nice little jump. We was about 9th not too long ago, but brilliant performances and good results have brought us up to 2nd place, just behind Manchester City, who are doing quite well. Top scorers right there. Jovetic behind Sanchez, who's just killing it at the moment with 12 goals. But that's going to be the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you come back. Probably tomorrow I'll have another episode. I've been being asked to do a OKC career, not OKC, OKC My GM. I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to try and record it either tonight. If not tonight, I'll record it tomorrow and it will be up maybe tomorrow or the weekend. So there you go. Goodbye, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode.